Hello everyone, TLSG here, back again with another daily Marvel Snap video. So today we have a hot location, which hot locations appear in 60% more games, and so you're going to be seeing this location a lot. Hot locations you can typically build a deck entirely around, whether that be leaning into the location, countering the location, but either way you need to have something equipped in your deck list to address either the opponent's play or to play something to get advantage in that location. So this week we have Onslaught Citadel. Onslaught Citadel is essentially an onslaught. Your ongoing effects here are doubled. This can get really crazy really quickly. And so initially you're going to think something like an Omega Red deck, something that runs Iron Man, something where you can just stack all of your power and just get an incredible upside. But that becomes difficult. With Onslaught Citadel, and with that being the common thought, a lot of people are running Enchantress, they're running Cosmo, they're running all kinds of counter cards, they're running Storm, Quake, anything to get the upside in the Onslaught Citadel away from you. And so that left us in a tricky spot. We want to utilize the location, but we don't want to give the opponents a free pass at it. And so that is where we came to today's deck list. We are going to be running a buff junk deck list, something that is designed to send stuff over into the opponent's lane, whether that be goblins or rocks or the hood, just junk into their side of the board so that it clogs it up. We have a Polaris to help pull a card over into the Onslaught Citadel so that we can hopefully cap out that location, and a couple of other cards that help with that clogging effect as well. And so running through the deck list really quickly, we have Hood. He's going to be a great card to give us a cheap 6-power card, and he's going to be a great target for our Viper. If we can send him over to the other side of the board, that one takes up a spot on their board, and it gives them a negative power bonus, which is huge. And then we have Ant-Man. Ant-Man's going to be great to kind of hold and secretly drop into Onslaught Citadel. If he caps it out, he'll all of a sudden be a 1-cost 7-power card, which, if the opponent doesn't get any strong ongoing abilities there, is a pretty formidable card to deal with. Then we have Black Widow. She's going to help disrupt the opponent's draw, and she is going to force them to play that Widow's Bite onto the board before they really even realize that we are running an entirely junk-focused deck. And so by dropping her, we're going to disrupt their flow, we're going to clog up their board. She meets all of the junk deck requirements. We have Carnage. He's going to help clear up some of our spacing. So if they run a debris of their own, if we can't get rid of the hood, if we use debris and it sends rocks into the board, Carnage is going to be able to eat and destroy those cards and gain the upside and clear a space, which is going to be more important. And then we have Mojo. With this deck list, we are aiming to cap out 1 or 2 of the opponent's locations, and we can oftentimes cap out our own pretty easily. And so Mojo is most of the time going to be able to trigger, and if we need like that last little push, we can always pull one of the opponent's cards over with Polaris to force that lane to be capped out, and then therefore get the bonus on our Mojo. And then we have Viper. Viper's main targets in this list are going to be either Hood or Black Widow or a Rock, all of which will clog up the opponent's side of the board, clear up our side of the board, and allowing us to drop some more impactful or more powerful combos along the way. And then we have Green Goblin. Green Goblin is going to serve the same purpose as like a Black Widow into a Viper. It is going to send a card onto their board and start clogging up their lanes, and it gives a negative 3 power bonus as well, which is a win-win. And then we have one that we typically don't run in a debris list, and that's Cosmo. Cosmo is here to kind of counteract those potential long plays, so we're not always going to be able to cap out the opponent's location. Maybe they play it really conservatively, and then they drop Wong on 5, and they're going to plan on dropping something large on 6. We can use Cosmo. If we have initiative, we're going to stop their on reveals from triggering, and a lot of times we can break their combo in the process. And then we have Debris. Debris is going to send 2 rocks into the other lanes, one on our side, one on theirs, and that serves to clog up a lot of board space. If they're not anticipating the debris play, a lot of times we can sneak a lane cap, and then therefore we can really easily assess how much power we need to push and where. And then we have Polaris. Polaris is a pretty high power 3-cost card, and she's going to be able to pull one of our rocks, the hood, or just one of their 1-cost cards that they throw onto the board into another lane to help cap it out. And a lot of times by stacking those, it's hard for them to push very much power into that location. And then we have Hobgoblin. Hobgoblin is very rarely going to be played, but in the event that we need one additional space taken care of, Hobgoblin is going to be able to serve that purpose. He is more of a high roll if they are playing really slow, and maybe we didn't hit our debris, maybe we didn't hit our Viper, and we just have a lot of board space to cover. He's going to come in and hopefully help cap out that location. And then finally we have Blue Marvel. Blue Marvel is going to be really fit for this deck list. If we can force the opponent to cap out their Onslaught Citadel without any major ongoing abilities, at the end of the game, we can drop Blue Marvel into the Onslaught Citadel. All of our cards will get a +2 bonus, which is pretty big, especially considering how many rocks and just how much junk we're going to have on the board and how much junk and dead cards they're going to have on the board. A lot of times the Blue Marvel is going to be pretty marvelous. That is the deck list. We are going to go ahead and jump in. I hope you guys enjoy. All right, so first up we have Name Regog, and they give me the Spider-Man point, so we're going to Spider-Man point back at them. So the first location is New York. That is going to, on turn 6, you're going to be able to move your cards to this location. So capping out their board space becomes a little bit tough. We want to make sure that we can hopefully limit how much space they have in New York so that they can't really move as many cards out as they would have wanted to. And so let's go ahead and throw our Mojo into the far right lane just in case it's Onslaught Citadel. There is a really good high likelihood that it will be, but it's not this time. Interesting. So instead of capping out or trying to cap out one of these other ones, I think we try to force New York into being board capped. So let's throw our debris into Atlantis. That's going to send a rock here and here. We're going to be able to do a Polaris to pull one of their 1 costs over. I want to limit it to where they're not going to be able to have that flexibility or decision to move cards into New York on that last turn. And they ran an Agent 13 and a Sentinel, and they have a Sunspot. I think they might be running like a hand-sized deck list or something that has a Devil Dino. So we need to look out for that or be on the watch for that. So I think we play it I think we're going to gamble here. We are going to use Carnage to destroy the rock and the hood. That is going to give us a 1-cost demon token in our hand. And then next turn we will use a Hobgoblin. We were betting on the fact that they weren't going to play a card into New York. It looks like we were luckily correct. So let's go ahead and send them the Hobgoblin. I think we should be okay in dropping that. I don't know if they're going to pass again or if maybe they keep with it. But if they play 1 card in New York, that's perfect. That serves us very, very well. So there is a Devil Dino. So they are running off of hand size. So they're not going to be able to do like an Arnhem Zola or anything cheeky like that. They could potentially do a Mystique, and they have initiative, so they will go first. What if we used Polaris to try to pull their Sunspot over? It could hit one of these two in the process, which would feel pretty bad. So I guess we can't gamble on that. So we are going to use our Polaris to hopefully pull their Sunspot over. We will use a demon. Hopefully this caps this one out. I don't know if this would be enough. It would end up being an 8-power Mojo, a decently powered. Oh, so they move one of their cards over. They do Arrow this turn. That's not what we want to see. Ooh, so we do win Atlantis as a result of pulling their Sunspot, which is the best case scenario we could have asked for. And then we have our Ant-Man coming in to win New York. We win Atlantis and New York very, very luckily. That was a 1 out of 4, a 25% shot for us to win that one. We didn't deserve that win. We did not deserve that one in the slightest. But here we are. We will take the RNG from time to time. Let's go ahead and jump into the next one, see if we can keep the high roll games going. Next up, we have Wes Jones. And we have Sinister London, so we're going to be able to do something like a hood that's going to generate 2 demons in our hand that we can then at some point duplicate as well. We're going to be able to do 2 goblins, potentially 2 Black Widows. We have a lot of upside here. If we can draw into Carnage, that'd be really, really nice, because then we could clear this lane before dumping our high power cards onto the board. So let's go with the Black Widow play. I think we go ahead and snap. Let's go with the Black Widow play. We're going to snap preemptively, see if we can keep them in the game just a little bit longer before they realize how tough this is going to be. If we draw into Viper, that's beautiful. We can send them a card here. Otherwise, we're going to do a Green Goblin next turn. We're going to clog up their board. That's going to take up a lot of their board space, and especially with a location like Sinister London, location is key. It's just like real estate. Location, location, location. So having space is pivotal in making sure that you're successful with a Sinister London, because you want to be able to duplicate and do all of these really high power things. And if you have to drop 2 cards onto the board that are duds, it starts feeling pretty bad. And then whenever you get hit with a Green Goblin as well, and then next turn we're going to hit them with something like a Hood or a Black Widow or something similar, it's going to get pretty bad pretty quick. So they do have a Green Goblin to send our way. They may be running a Destroyer deck list, so we have to watch out for the fact that they might be able to drop a Destroyer on the last turn and kind of wipe everything but the Colossuses. So I really need to Carnage here. But at the same time, I don't want to. At the same time, I want to... Do we hold our demon just in case? No, we can cap this one out next turn, do the Carnage, and then the double blue Marvel. We should be fine. We're going to go with the demon and the Ant-Man. Next turn, we can do something like a Carnage and a demon. Ooh, that's so rough. Oh my gosh. That sent us. They sent us. Well, shoot. No, that's not great. That is not great at all. Okay, so we might be able to sneak Sinister London away. If maybe they're like, yeah, we got this, we're not going to need to play anything. Actually, they can do a Destroyer there, right? Destroyer there. They run the risk of dropping the Destroyer over here as well. A blue Marvel is only going to push us up to 18. We're going to lose to a Destroyer play if they play it here and here, and they cap this one out early. That's what we're going to end up losing to. Feels something. I don't know. I don't know if this is the right play. We're going to go with a Carnage and then a Polaris to pull one of their cards over. Hopefully, like a Cosmo here. Oh wait, we can't. We can't reach the Cosmos. Oh, unfortunate. Well, we lose. Well, if they do a Destroyer, it could pop over here and destroy everything on their board. We have a shot. We have a slight chance here. We're going to let it play out. I don't know that they're going to do Destroyer here. I don't know that they can afford to. Because the randomness, unless they can drop something 0 cost here. Yeah. Oh my gosh. We countered the Hobgoblin at the perfect time. Had we had initiative, the Hobgoblin would have came our way. It would have been really, really unfortunate. But we had the capped out lane. That is 2 in a row. That is 2 in a row that we got incredibly lucky. This may be our lucky night. Let's go ahead and keep playing, see how well we can do. All right, so next up we have Day OK. And the first location is Washington, D.C., which is going to be a good spot for our demon token because he will get the +3 bonus. I'm going to go ahead and say the Onslaught Citadel is over here. We're just gonna believe that. We are going to be able to do Viper before it flips up, so even if it's something like Space Throne, that's not quite where it was, but that's okay. In which case, I think we do our Black Widow. I think we leave this one for now, because capping out the Onslaught Citadel is typically going to be a little bit more important than sending them a -2 card in an unknown location. So they do an Angela, so they're going to, looks like maybe just kind of stack this one pretty high, which I mean is fine. We can do a Green Goblin. Unless they cap it out this turn, we send them a lot of negativity. We're just harnessing our negativeness today. We can send them, okay, so the Green Goblin, the Widow's Bite, the Lizard. Interesting. We can always use Polaris to pull the Angela over if it gets too big into Fisk Tower to destroy it. But I think what we want to do right now, or what we want to focus on, is capping this one out. So let's go with the Viper to send them the Black Widow. We will go with a Mojo. That way, if we do end up capping this one out, or if we force them to cap this one out by themselves, then we should be okay. And so now we can do our Polaris. That should pull their Lizard over. We can do a Carnage, and then we assess. We assess next turn. Do we want to, drop a card here to finish capping this one out? Do we drop our Demon over here? It gives us a little bit of options. Plus, if we pull their Lizard over, they're going to have 0 power in the Fisk Tower, and that's going to become really difficult for them to win. Ooh, we pulled a Mojo over, which is kind of unfortunate. But they do have the negative card, so overall, if we're taking the sums out of it, so we have the Mojo, so we're fine there. So it comes down, we don't draw our Blue Marvel, which would have been marvelous. We don't draw our Blue Marvel. Demon is going to get a +3, he will be 9 power here. It would bring us up to 10 power here. We're gonna gamble and say that they're gonna stack into Fisk Tower and not play anything into the Washington DC lane. And then of course we need to cap out this location. So no we don't. We already have this one won, so we don't have to do that. What was I thinking? Let's go with the Hobgoblin and the Demon. That should send them enough negativity over here. I don't think they can buff this one out. I was thinking we needed to trigger our Mojo, but we already have the win here by a lot. Let's go with the, my bad, Day OK. I didn't mean to rope you. we were thinking through our play. We almost made a major misplay with the Ant-Man, but we did find probably a win condition. I think the Hobgoblin and then the 9 power, that would have reset them at 0. They would have had to play at least 9 power here, and they had to make up a decision of if they wanted to, split their power, if they wanted to stack it in one location. So that is another one where we got pretty fortunate on the flips. Not perfect, but we definitely got lucky. So let's go ahead. That's 3-0. That's 3 in a row that we've won. Let's go ahead and jump into the next one. All right. So next up we have Regis, and the first location is Camartage, which is really good for our Black Widow play. If we had drawn into the hood, that would have been beautiful for the hood as well. But we're gonna go with the Black Widow. We're gonna let it ride. Let's go with the Black Widow. We're gonna send them 2 Widow's Bites onto their side of the board. The Onslaught Citadel is when they snap, so I'm really curious. I'm thinking with seeing the Lizard, maybe they're running like a Spectrum Wong, and so as long as we can do something like a Cosmo here, we might be able to take away that upside. The double debris is going to be dirty, and we can always pull one of their cards away from the Onslaught Citadel, 2 of their cards away from the Onslaught Citadel with Polaris. All right, let's go ahead and snap back. We're feeling more confident now. We have the debris. That's going to add quite a bit of disruption onto their side of the board. If we draw into a Goblin, we can send another one. A Viper could potentially do the same thing. We have a decent shot. So they have the Cosmo, which is fine. We're not playing into Onslaught Citadel. We figured that most people are either going to try and counter it or lean into it really heavily. And so that clogs up a lot of their board. And so now I think what we do, let's pull 2 of their cards over into Camartage. I think that's going to be a pretty good usage of our Polaris of this space. We can have them cap out the Camartage location. No on reveals are going to trigger in the Onslaught Citadel. Actually, if they did the Cosmo into theirs, because they're going to lean into like an Iron Man and an Omega Red. At that point, capping this one out feels pretty bad. Yeah, I don't think we go with that. But what do we go with instead? We can go with we're going to go with it. I don't like it. There is a chance we pull out of Washington, D.C. I don't necessarily like clearing up the Onslaught Citadel that much. Okay, so there is their Omega Red. That is what they were going to go with. But we're going to pull a 1 cost card out of the Onslaught Citadel lane. They're not going to be able to do anything in Camartage anymore. And so now we have an opportunity. We can do a Viper into Washington, D.C. That will make sure that they can't trigger any like on reveal or anything. And then maybe we just let Onslaught Citadel be a loss. That would send them a 3 power card. It would send them a 3 power card. We would just have to have over 3 power, which actually looking at it, we don't have in our hand currently. Here is to hoping. We're gonna lean into that hopium. We're gonna put our mojo into Camartage just in case they have like a blue Marvel or something, I guess. Or maybe a Mr. Fantastic would be pretty good in Onslaught Citadel still. So let's try to cap out their Washington, D.C. lane. They have the Iron Man coming in, which is big. That's going to make it really hard to win that location. We have our Mojo coming in to push a pretty large amount of power into Camartage. It takes away their power from Lizard. Now we just need a 3 power play, please. Oh my gosh. Blue Marvel, Cosmo, where are you guys at? This was my time of need. I needed you. Came down to a final turn draw. We couldn't do it. Just couldn't get it. We had a couple of outs. We had a Blue Marvel. In retrospect, sending the Rock was probably the wrong play without having something guaranteed in hand. But I really wanted to lean in and get the win. But we could have even done, I guess, a Carnage. We had a Hobgoblin, though. Couldn't we have sent Hobgoblin last turn and then waited for the Mojo? Oh my gosh. Misplays. Yeah, we could have leaned in and hoped for the Hobgoblin play. If not, we had the Carnage to clean it up, knowing that they had whatever they had here. All right, so next up we have Xayvius, and we did drop a couple of games between here and just the match a second ago, which is kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is. We make the best of it. We try to move on and move upward. There were win conditions in each one, I believe, and so looking at those and kind of realizing our mistakes, we can learn from them, we can grow from them, and so then the loss is not a complete waste. And so Nova Roma could potentially help. We were looking for like a Goblin primarily to send them stuff in the Superflow while we still retain that bonus. but we didn't get lucky, unfortunately. So let's go with a Black Widow into the far right-hand side. This one may be the Onslaught Citadel. If it is, then we want to try and clog it up. We have both of our ongoing cards, except for Blue Marvel. We have all of our ongoing cards stacked in Nova Roma currently. And so the last location does turn out to be the big house. Okay, so cards that cost 4, 5, and 6 can't be played there. I think maybe we just play Polaris into Nova Roma. I don't think we necessarily need to send them the Black Widow with Viper. They're gonna have to drop the Widow's Bite onto the board somewhere. Ooh, Maximus is a big one. Ooh, and we still don't have our Green Goblin. Oh my gosh, super deep into the deck today. And our Blue Marvel as well. Very interesting. So they have a really big lead in the big house currently. So I think we probably go for trying to win Nova Roma and the Superflow, which with how many negative cards we have, next turn we're going to be able to do something like Demon, Debris, and Carnage because we'll have 6 energy. That would leave us free to do a pretty decent turn on turn 6 as well. If we can draw into our Blue Marvel. Blue Marvel is going to be a huge proponent in making sure that we win this one, but we'll see. We will absolutely see. So they have a Sarah, so all of their cards are going to be reduced in cost. So if they have any like big power plays, we might be in a bit of trouble. But we do have the advantage of they're going to be able to play a lot of cards in the big house. So we know that we are not going to be able to win that one, most likely. So we can do a Debris. We could do a Viper to try to send the negative hood over their way. But I think we do Debris. We could do Carnage, and that's going to be a 6 power play, which is pretty strong in its own right. Let's gamble. I don't know. If I was them, I would play pretty heavily into this lane, actually. So if that's the case, let's do the hood, let's do the Viper, and then the Debris. I think that's decent. If they do play here, then our Viper will send first. If they don't, then our Viper will send, and then our Debris will hit. The only downside here is that we are going to cap out our Nova Roma location. And so actually, let's play this mid? No, let's play it to the right. Ooh, we almost lost our time there. We do get the upside. We're going to finish capping out their Superflow. I need to calm down. We're going to finish capping out Nova Roma, both of which we have a... Ooh, that could be bad. Which one is it going to... Okay, so it steals Ant-Man. That may not be as bad. That's only a +3 to them. Ooh, okay. Okay, so unless they have a way to buff their hand, we are going to win. Okay, never mind. It's over now. It is all over. So they can't play any 4, 5, or 6 cost cards. So they're not going to be able to do a Blue Marvel, even with Sarah. So we know that we're relatively safe to play him. That's going to buff up this lane, even if they were able to like push power to the side or somehow get more power here. Blue Marvel would buff us up by 4. They most likely wouldn't be able to cover that. And then our demon would have just kind of been a floater. But very, very fortunate. We did get the good disruption with our rocks, with our Vipers. We were able to read when and where we could drop those. And so that is a decent recovery after a heartbreaking loss that came down to a top deck. But let's go ahead and jump into the next one. Let's see if we can get a high cube game. Most of the time, once you get them in like a losing position, they're going to retreat with a junk deck. And that's kind of where the cube gain struggles, is that even if you do win, a lot of times it's by enough that they retreat because they know they've lost. All right, next up we have Fanchi, and we discard our Carnage. They discard their Deathlock. Interesting. So Fanchi has been running, I believe, something of a like Nova Carnage combo. So they do have destruction tools. Luckily for us, they discarded one. But I don't know that that's going to be enough. Even something like a Black Widow, they can oftentimes clear up that space by dropping a Carnage, dropping those cards that allow them to destroy in that lane. So we go first here. I believe I'm going on a gut feeling. I believe they were going to drop a Widow's Bite and maybe a Carnage. Cosmo would stop them. That would cap out this location. We would win this one. They would retreat. It just happened a little bit faster than I thought. Let's go ahead and jump into the next one. All right, so next up we have Rytech, and the first location is Limbo. So we know that it's going to extend the game to turn 7. That gives us a little bit of extra time to kind of maneuver cards around. It relieves kind of some of the tension between Hobgoblin and Blue Marvel. And so we might have a decent shot here. Let's go ahead and play our demon onto the board, I suppose. Just so we don't lose all of that energy. And they play a Sunspot, so it is pretty unlikely that they run like Killmonger or something similar. We don't get the Onslaught Citadel, but that's okay. We really operate outside of the Onslaught Citadel, but it just helps whenever the opponent's deck is built towards it. And so we go with a Green Goblin. I think we go with a Cosmo into the Lockjaw lane. That is going to allow us to stop the owner reveals from the cards they cycle into. If we had initiative, it would have been great, but we did not because of, oh my gosh, my Lanta. So they end up capping out their location. The owner reveal from our Cosmo, technically their Cosmo, does not let Storm trigger, doesn't let anything. Oh my gosh. So that is a W. I say we wait a turn. We give them a little time to kind of regain their confidence, just kind of build it back up, and then we hit them with the snap. So let's go with a Hobgoblin here. We have a I think we have this one. I don't think there's any way that they can come back and win. After capping this one out unexpectedly so early, it's going to be really difficult. And so are they going to run an Odin? They're going to run an Odin here, yeah, to send these Hobgoblins back. We will Carnage that on the last turn. We'll Carnage it on the last turn, which will allow us to get the +5 bonus, but I don't know that that's enough. Because it'll be 2, 4, 6. It'll be 11 power here. They're going to be 9 power with an Odin and a White Tiger. All right, so we're going to do something a little bit strange. We're going to do Polaris into Atlantis to try to pull over like their Sunspot. If they hadn't done Odin, that would have been great. But now we're going to be trying to pull their Sunspot over into Atlantis as well. Actually, no, they re-trigger White Tiger. So, oh man, the Carnage play was definitely better. Well, okay. So we can use Carnage. That's going to be 2, 4, 6, 8. It's going to be 13. It's going to be 14 power here. That's not terrible. And we saved the Blue Marvel, so it's kind of a sneak play. Maybe they won't drop something major here. They probably will, but I'm hoping they don't. That is our only chance of winning. And so let's go ahead and lock that loss in. I'm sure we lose this one. They do the Dr. Doom, which only puts them to 12, actually. That's huge. That's huge. The Atlantis location is going to be our only card, or Carnage is going to be our only card at the Atlantis location. We get the +5 bonus from Atlantis. We get the Blue Marvel bonus, which pushes us to 14 in the Atlantis lane, and we win the Limbo location. Rytech, you didn't deserve to be done that way. That is how we're going to go ahead and end the video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave it a like and a comment down below. And as always, this has been TLSG. Later, guys.